All right, folks, welcome to episode 100, 100, triple digits, guys. Episode 100 of the Wodcast Podcast. I am
Century
Armen Hammer.
mark. The century
That's
mark.
right, the century
mark.
The 10th millennial mark. The 10th of a millennial mark, that's right. Joined, as usual, by Eddie Ifft and Scott McGee, and we're lucky enough to be joined by Bob Harper. The Bob Harper.
The Bob Harper.
The Bob Harper?
Yeah.
Trainer Bob.
Do you own your SAG name? Are you the only Bob Harper? Or
No. There's someone else.
So did you have to go by something else, like Bob Harper the Third or something?
I ended up having to go with my, Robert Harper, actually.
Okay, yeah. Because I've seen guys do the. They'll put the in front of their name.
No shit, really?
Yeah.
I always thought that I would like to, if I ever changed my name, it would be The Hulk. I would like my name to be The Hulk.
I regret not taking a stage name. Now, like I've been doing it 18 years, and I when I started, I was like, no, I want to like people to know me for who I am, and now I'm like, oh my god, I would so love to have a character and just leave.
Wait, what would it be?
I don't know.
Is that common in comedy?
Fuckface or something?
Armen has a stage name.
Yeah, I know. You're not even a comedian. You're
I'm
the
not even famous and I have a stage name.
What is your stage name?
Armen Hammer.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
It's just, I changed the last
We're not
name.
even. I don't even know how to say his actual name.
Not very
correctly.
many people
I don't know how to say it either.
There you go.
It's Armen Amirian.
That's it right
Okay.
there.
Oh,
So you
wow.
know how to say it.
Yeah.
Armen Amirian.
Yeah.
Armen Hammer is much better.
It's just a lot easier
and
to say Armen Hammer.
Robert Harper's here today. with
We're
us.
joined with Robert Harper, not Bob Harper, Robert Harper.
I hear that and I think I'm in trouble.
I also want to say Armen finally said my regular name. And we
Yes.
took up to
Yeah.
it.
I
saw that.
didn't call you Squat Magoo or Swat McGeeb.
Squat McGee.
Squat McGeeb is a good one, actually. I'm going to bank that for later.
So we actually made it all the way to 100 episodes. Do you guys feel like episode 1 happened just yesterday?
No.
No.
Episode 1 was
No.
terrible,
Yeah.
and I hope to never, ever hear it again.
I thought it was kind of fun. I enjoyed episode 1.
People
we
are
had
still
no idea what
downloading
we were
that.
doing.
So in case to give you a little brief history, Eddie and I started this podcast, I don't know, 2 years ago almost?
Yeah, about 2 years ago.
About 2 years ago, and we had never met before. We had like a conversation on the phone real briefly about doing something else, and then we just happened to meet up, and Machete was there. Machete's our sound guy. And
We originally were supposed to make videos.
we were going to make videos, and then we decided to do podcasts because Eddie has another podcast that he does. And I had never, ever met Eddie before, never had a conversation with him, had no idea what was going on, and I was a writer. So I wasn't really a vocal guy. And that first episode is just like, yeah.
Well, we had Kenny Kane as our guest.
Yeah, Kenny was the guest, and then he stayed on for 40, 50 episodes as a co-host. And then now we have Scott.
Kenny,
and now we're here.
Kenny from CrossFit LA, who is the coach of the CrossFit LA team, and he's does the Positivity Project and a couple other things, and he's a celebrity trainer that he doesn't talk about.
Yeah,
Did you ever try to talk to him about his celebrities?
He's like,
Yeah.
I can't tell you about that.
And
Professionalism.
He's also a tight wearer with no shorts.
Yes. Yeah.
Does he really?
Yeah, he does.
Oh my gosh, you kidding
Thoughts,
me?
feelings, emotions, Bob, on guys that wear tights, like long tights, no shorts.
It always looks kind of weird to me. I'm thinking, like, where are your shorts?
Yeah, right?
It's like, did you forget something?
Yeah. Like kind of something's peeking out a little bit. Should be wearing something
Or
else.
what about the guy-
Back in my track days, every day
it
I
is.
wore tights.
You were that guy,
Just
huh?
tights?
Every day. Well, we wore tights.
Did you wear a
to
long
practice.
shirt?
No, I forget. But here's the weird thing: I was the only white guy on the team, like the only white guy, and we wore long tights like to practice. But in meets, we wore singlets, and the singlet was like yellow, like kind of goldish, and on black guys, it looked awesome.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Pitt would walk in, and people would be like, "Pitt's in the house," and then this pale white guy in a gold singlet would walk in, and they would go, "Why does he get to wear it? Why is your water guy wearing like?"
I just did my first Olympic lifting competition, and I had to wear a singlet.
Why do they make you wear the singlet?
Because it's like old school. It's
Yeah.
it's just part of the culture, I think. And so it's like, I understood it for that, although I was reluctant. I said, why do I need to do this?
It is
Why-
awkward.
It's awkward, but like, and I understand when you're working out, you need to have the legs covered, but I don't understand what the concept is of not wearing shorts over them.
Right.
I don't either.
And I also don't
Is there a
appreciate
purpose?
it. I don't know, but the CrossFit gym that I work out in, a lot of guys work out in their singlets, and I've got to say it's really awkward.
What about the look? I mean, I've seen this happen where guys wearing the tights, Olympic lifting shoes, no shirt,
Oh.
and then the arm sleeves.
Oh, that's a great look.
You see, I've seen
So
that.
that's a real good look.
That's so elite.
That they're, I mean,
Yeah,
at that
that's
point,
so
you know they're
elite.
serious about CrossFit. They probably have their own jump ropes, multiple jump ropes.
I think there should be certain standards and weights where you can put things on. Like you need to have a certain snatch, you need to have a certain clean and jerk to be able to put on knee sleeves, to put on arm sleeves, to put on wrist
A belt.
straps. Yeah, to put on a belt. Like I don't put the belt on until I start getting up there in weight because I just feel like people are looking at me like,
Because you
what?
look like a goober.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you have 135 pounds on the bar and you have all the accessories and you're barely squatting it.
I would wear a belt with 135 pounds if I was doing Grace.
If you're doing, sure.
Sure.
I mean, 30 clean and jerks is
30 clean and
different,
jerks.
right?
At
Where you're
135, I would want my belt on.
It'll help. It'll probably help there. I mean, it might not help if you're doing like warm-ups for max.
We got a dump truck out.
Are we
I was
in-
about
out
to
in the
say,
street
is
of West
the
Hollywood.
helicopter landing? Am I going to my next meeting?
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't doubt it if you were.
Yeah.
And that's how I picture Bob Harper.
So we actually talked about. I mean, in the Armen and I talked about it, and along with Eddie about making like funny videos or doing skits or doing some way where there's almost like a CrossFit fashion police or like an Terry Tate office linebacker for CrossFit. So. Like the guy that's screaming and taking his shirt off and has a 9-minute Fran, or there's always one in each gym, or the guy that has every single solitary piece of CrossFit accessory on, everything from like.
Let's talk more about the women with those little like underwear shorts that they wear.
Uh-huh.
There's some girls that just should not, like the camel hoof that is coming out. It's like, come on, cover that thing. It looks like an ass in the front, and no shame whatsoever. There's just they're people in
proud of
CrossFit
their
are shameless.
they're proud of their legs. They're proud of their
Yeah.
glutes. I mean, they want to put them out on display.
Listen, Eddie, you've never seen me wear that, so you don't
Oh,
know what it looks
gosh.
like when someone in great shape wears it. I'm just saying.
Or the people to see it. You have like, I don't know. Only a few years ago, CrossFit was like board shorts and T-shirts and
Yeah.
Converse.
Yeah.
And now it's like every single joint in the body has an accessory for it.
That's right. Well,
We can
elbow
thank-
sleeves
we can-
haven't quite made it into CrossFit yet, although I'm sure
Elbow sleeves?
elbow sleeves.
Yeah,
haven't
they
quite
have.
made it
That's what I'm
yet.
talking about. They have the arm thing.
Yeah.
They have,
Arm
no, they have
sleeves.
like the compression
Nope,
thing.
nope.
It's
All the way
compression.
up over the elbows
Yeah.
now.
Yep. All the
No
way.
shit,
Oh,
really?
yeah.
Skins makes them.
Yeah, you got to keep your
Awesome.
elbows warm, for when you're doing those movements.
That's awesome.
I'm waiting for the,
Neck sleeves.
I told you, like the Wodcast Podcast should come up with the neck sleeve, right? Band, and we have Miranda as our spokesperson.
There was a football player that used to play probably about 10 years ago named Jerry Oslowski that played linebacker for the Steelers, who literally would go on the field with like the uniform they issued him. Nothing, like no tape, no elbow pads, nothing. And he would stand up there at linebacker and just
That's
you'd just
awesome.
see blood gushing off his arms and neck and everything. No neck roll, nothing.
All right, let's air it. Armen, what is your favorite accessory that you need for training? Like if you had to give up everything but had to keep one piece of equipment, what would it be? And I'm gonna come and ask you guys after that.
I love my weightlifting shoes.
Okay, let's just say weightlifting shoes is a given.
Strength
Okay.
wraps.
It's a given.
That would be mine.
Strength
Yeah.
wraps. Strength wraps. I've broken both my wrists doing cleans, so it's like
What?
yeah. In the 2000
It only took to
2010
episode 100. I've been talking about my wrist for
2011.
this long.
2011 Open. There was the workout that was
Were you
squat
wearing
clean
straps?
jerks. No, it was squat clean and jerks at like 155 or 165, like AMRAP 4 minutes. I
How'd
did
you wipe your ass after that?
Well, I did it 3 days in a row, and each time I hurt I did a different injury. And the last time I did it, I landed a clean with my elbows on my knees, and it just
Which bone did break?
shit, I don't remember. It was like a hairline fracture across my, I don't know. Lindsay Matthews actually helped me recover from it for a while.
Huh.
I was going to like every week.
So strength
for,
abs, that's
like,
what we
4 or 5
have right
months.
here. We have these fancy.
So yeah, I mean, I've been using strength reps for a few years now.
That's actually, I'd be honest, that'd be the one I wouldn't give up.
Yeah, wrist
But
reps.
that's all I
It
do
just
wear.
makes me feel comfortable.
I never put on a belt, never do any of that
A little bit of
stuff.
support.
I don't even wear weightlifting shoes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like them. I that was the whole reason I got into CrossFit was you can wear board shorts and running shoes and just
Yeah.
go out there and
It makes such a huge difference for me. It's like
The weightlifting shoes? Absolutely.
weightlifting shoes is like I walk into this room and if there's a bar on the ground, I mean my shoes are going to get switched immediately.
really.
So
And I want my knee braces too.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
These
the knee
sleeves are good too.
So would that be yours?
That would
the
be
knee
mine.
sleeves?
If the shoes are a given, then I'm going for the knee.
Is
brace.
the knee brace necessary, or is it in your head that you feel like you need it because you're just afraid?
Maybe I don't know if I'm afraid. I feel like my knees are really bionic when I have them on. Like you know, they
like
feel secure.
Batman's knees, like he put them on and kicks a hole through the brick wall.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I'm kind of like, obviously the shoes are giving, and I have a little story about the shoes. The Adidas Ironworks 3, the white shoe that they don't make any longer.
Some of the best weightlifting shoes ever.
They're the best, dude. And then
They're
now,
too narrow for my feet.
Oh, really?
Well, I got narrow little speedy feet, so. And now they make the red ones, you know, the bright orange red ones.
Yep.
The
Adidas, if
Powers.
you're listening, if you could make me all black with white stripes.
They
That's
just
it.
came out. There's a dude in my gym that has black ones now.
Is it white stripes?
No, I think there might be red.
All right, I'm gonna look into it.
Well,
Yeah.
But I was saying I added a little tiny bit of heel sole on my Ironworks. They gave me a little bit more height, and so it helps with my poor ankle dorsiflexion here. It actually helps me stay a lot more vertical in the lift.
I should probably, with my ankle, I have a broken ankle that I've got a metal plate in, and that causes all kinds of issues because I can't get the flexibility in the ankle. So I'm probably the best candidate for.
Dude, you're going to be the guy that puts them on and be like, why the hell did I wait so long to get lifting shoes?
I know
Totally.
it probably would make a massive difference because when I do, every once in a while I'll put plates under. Like I can't do,
okay,
I can
then
only
that's
do
the same.
pistols on one leg, and then I can only do
You'll
them
be a
on the
pistol
other
machine.
You'd
leg.
be a pistol machine. Same
No,
with
seriously.
wall balls. Wall ball. If you do Karen, put your Oli shoes on.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I just feel like I'd be selling out again.
You're putting plates underneath your shoes, wearing and basing CrossFitting. Dude, you're already there. So I was thinking, though, about the accessories that I try not to overdo the accessories. I wear the strength wraps on my left wrist only because it's all busted up. But I try not to because I'm worried that, like, wearing the knee sleeves, for example, is that you get dependent on that and feel like you walk into a gym and that you kind of need those to do the workout in. I mean, I'm just kind of curious, like, if you had to go do some lifts right now, would you need your knee sleeves? And if you didn't have them, would that kind of get in your head and make you self-conscious?
No, I travel all the time, so I go to boxes throughout the country, and I don't carry my lifting shoes. I don't carry my knee sleeves. It's like I'm pretty much with my nanos and my board shorts.
Yeah, when I travel, I bring tape.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I'll tape my wrists, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's like I can do it. But if I'm in here and I'm really like working on form, technique, and I'm just like I'm in that headspace, it's like I'm gonna want all my gear on, and then like
Which we should mention, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the space that we're in. But if
pretty
you're just
sweet.
listening, Bob Harper's got his own little garage gym that I wouldn't call little.
This
You
isn't
could-
this
you
is
could
a
pa-
warehouse gym.
You could park 2 Mack trucks in here.
I've been in CrossFit gyms that are smaller than this.
Yeah.
This thing is this place is awesome. How often do you
Yeah,
train
we could have
he-
some classes here. We could have the Wodcast class here.
yeah.
How often do you train here versus say at Brick or other places that you go?
Well, I come here about 3 times a week with my Oli coach. So it's like I'm here 3 times a week, and then I'm at Brick 5-6 times a week.
Awesome. Has the I know they expanded. Is it all finished?
It's not all finished. It's like in the works right now.
Cool.
So is most of everybody who's listening probably knows who you are, but is most of what you do for your own training CrossFit?
It's all CrossFit.
All
yeah.
CrossFit.
It's all CrossFit.
Wow.
And that's what I do with my athletes on the show now too. It's like it's all CrossFit.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I definitely want to talk about CrossFit as it relates to the show, but let's go a step further back and talk about your introduction to CrossFit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, it was really interesting because I've been in the fitness business for a long time, been doing the show, was really bored with everything that I was doing. I did a lot of endurance training, a lot of running, and my knees, my ankles, like my body was just getting worn out. And my mind was getting just like, I don't know. I was just like, I needed something new. I needed something different. This was a few years ago, and I kept hearing CrossFit. And I'm like, okay, let me see what this is about. And so that's how I got introduced to Brick. When I went up to my producers on the show and I said, you know what, I want to try this new kind of workout, this new concept, and do CrossFit with my athletes on the show, and let's just kind of like see what it's about. I go into this place, Brick. The attitude was just like, I've talked about this with the coaches there, and they're like, you walked in, we immediately hated you.
Was this JP?
There was JP. I mean, like one of my dearest friends, and he was like, I hated your guts when you walked into my place. And I was like, why? And I was like, because you had the job I wanted. And I thought that was really kind of honest and really cool. And so I went into that workout, and it was one of the hardest things I'd ever done in my entire life.
Did they step up the workout because it was you? Or was it the actual class workout?
It was they had programmed something. I kind of came in with an idea that I wanted to do. I'd already done my research and homework on what CrossFit was to me at that time, and so it was humbling. I hated it and I loved it all at the same time. And I remember
sounds pretty common, yeah.
Yeah, I said to JP afterwards when I walked out, I said, "You're gonna get you better get used to me because I'm gonna be coming in here a lot."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, okay, great, we'll see you." And I came in the next day, and it was like he looked at, and I just by myself and just kind of went into this workout, and it was just like, wow, I didn't think that you're really gonna show up.
JP's a friend of the show. We've actually had him on. I just did an interview with him last
He's
week.
a great guy.
He hasn't told us that story.
Yeah.
Of when you first walked in the gym, your first workout.
He hated me. He told like when
Come on, JP.
I did an interview for the Box magazine not too long ago, and there was like something about that in there.
Did he scale your workout up? He's like, this fucking guy, this fucking 185-pound clean and jerks and double wall balls.
Oh, I couldn't.
I think that happens.
I had no strength like that whatsoever. It's like I've been, it's taken me years to kind of like start building up a strength that I never had because I didn't do any kind of training like this.
I've seen that a lot of times with CrossFit though, and you see it with all the games athletes. Everybody says, "Oh, my first CrossFit," and they tell what their first workout was and how it killed them and destroyed them, and they didn't even finish the workout. And I see that when I bring friends in that are athletes from other sports, and they get destroyed, and they're like, "This is the hardest thing I've ever done." I went and did yoga for athletes the other day at Yaz, and died in 5 minutes.
Right.
And I'm looking at these women that are having no problem, and I'm holding 5-pound weights going, how do they do this?
Yeah.
How do they do this? And I've got it out to my side, and I'm looking at, my wife was with me, and I'm going, I got to go out the back door.
You're like, don't look at me. Don't look at me.
I have an interesting story about that, and I'm sure people are not going to like me to say this, but like that's the kind of world that I came from. Those yoga spinning boot camp type classes, and on Christmas break, I was with my best friend. She was like, "I'm taking you to this boot camp class." I'm like, "I don't want to take a fucking boot camp class. I want to go do CrossFit." And she was like, "No, come do it." And I went into the class, and I was reminded so quickly of why I never ever got strong. I literally was like, "Oh, this makes sense. This makes sense now."
But there is, when I was doing that yoga class, I realized there's something missing in a lot of CrossFit, which is the isometric stuff. There's not enough isometric kind of lifts going on where you have to hold stuff enough. And I'm going, wow, I was lacking the stability. I was lacking
the explosion. There's no explosion in those kind of workouts.
No, none. I mean, what CrossFit has, I'm thinking, there is some aspects of it that you can add to your CrossFit workout that aren't going on as
squat
much.
holds.
Yeah.
And speaking of squat holds, this brief funny story. Fish Oil Maddie Fish Oil,
yes,
was at the gym doing a thing for SFH recently, and before the presentation, we were goofing around, doing some stupid workouts with doing buddy wall ball things with a burpee in between, and coming up and seeing who would finish, who would fall out first. And then I challenged him. He went down to the bottom of a squat, and I was in an air dying. We're gonna do a workout, but he went down the bottom of a squat, and it looked pretty good. I'm like, "Oh, how long can you stay there?" And he's like, "Oh, a long time." So I jumped down, and I went down to the bottom of my squat, and then being two old friends with some competitiveness, say, "Hey, let's see who can hold it the longest." And so it went on forever, and I was talking shit to him. I'm like, "Hey, dude, you're getting a little sweaty.
Your toes started falling asleep."
Yeah, I was like, "You're starting to shake." And he's like, starts goofing around and throwing punches and stuff. And this went on. He wouldn't stand up out of the bottom of his squat, and the two of us are down there literally for it felt like 12 minutes so far.
Oh,
how long was it?
It was an incredible amount of time. And I'm sitting there totally relaxed.
The sun came up and went down.
Yeah, I'm telling him, I was like, "Dude, this is where I tweet. This is where I eat dinner now. I do this all the time." I just totally talking shit to him. And the funny thing is, eventually he collapses. Maddie's huge. He's 250 right now. And his butt started touching the ground. That's how long we were at the bottom of the squat. And he finally got up, and he could barely stand up. and I popped right out. And to this day, right now, he doesn't know. But part of my ass was resting on a wooden crate. I totally fucked him up, dude. I popped out. It was like, no problem. I sat back up and hopped on the airline leg. La, 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 la.
Cheater.
So, Maddie, dude, I got you, buddy.
Cheater. It's like when I take my bag to the airport and I have to put it on the scale, I always have a foot under it so that it does
pull it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of pull
They're
it up.
like, oh, 48 pounds. Okay. Go right ahead.
But so needless to get back to the point, yeah, it's like in CrossFit, we do not hold those isometric. We don't hold isometric stuff.
The L-sits
Except
are the L-sits like the
That's
only
like
thing.
the worst, man. L-sits and planks, and those things make me sweat more than burpees.
Probably, but who needs them?
Do you do
I'm
it?
with Bob
Do
on
you
this
do it to
one.
people on The Biggest Loser at all? Do you have competitions like that where you make them hold anything?
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
it's the worst.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's good TV. Like
Right.
it gets them like screaming, yelling, and crying and falling on the ground. It's
I saw it on an MTV when they used to do those Real World Road Rules challenges, and
Yeah.
they made them hold like onto rings or something,
Yeah.
and it was like whoever could hold the longest, and the girls were crushing the guys.
Oh yeah,
Just
because their weight,
crushing.
just from the weight.
There's
on Survivor, I see that all the time.
There was a strongman competition. One of the events in in the 80s was they would have to hold out like a 25-pound like weight, and they would just hold it for as long as possible. And like the competition was, who collapses last, basically.
Dude, that stuff is hard. We've actually done that at the range of shooting. We have kettlebells and stuff out there, and we'll do the same thing. So you can hold it the longest and then go right into shooting. And the funny thing is, those kind of holds, if you've done it, it's like, this is cool. And literally 6 seconds later, you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah, it goes from manageable to just impossible.
You're like totally secure to insecure like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's an adaptation to it where
big
you can
time.
pick it up very quickly, because I was looking around the room at this Yaz for Athletes, and these, 50-year-old women are all doing it with, and I'm shaking. Like you could see my whole body trembling, and I'm like, why are these women able to do this?
Yeah, the same thing with L-sit though. If you practice L-sit every day, 7 days later, you're going to be a lot better at them.
7 days. I can't do 7 days of L-sits.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's
How long do you have to do
the
this?
new challenge is accumulate 5 minutes in an L-sit every day.
Ooh, dude, just do
Everyone's
Tabata.
looking at me like, no.
5 minutes.
Just do Tabata every day.
Accumulate. So
Accumulate.
But eventually, you would hold it for 5 minutes. Is that what you're telling me?
no, I'm saying, but you'll probably triple the amount of time you can hold it.
Interesting.
My gymnastics coach had me doing L-sits yesterday on
Is that Maddie?
on
Maddie,
parallel.
we had Maddie on the show. She's a friend too.
She's the best. She's
Stick
the
it.
best.
Stick it.
She had you do.
Is she still chalking it up?
Yeah.
Awesome.
She had you do L-sits on parallettes.
Yep, and doing like handstands on I mean, she's real into me. Like, she does not realize that I have 2 functioning legs I can walk on. She wants me to walk on hands all the time.
That's right. Have you tried the backwards roll to support that they put up, the video they put up on CrossFit
Oh,
on the rings?
No,
No.
no,
Oh, come on.
no.
Even I can do it.
Are you talking about the one where they had all the employees do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the video of me doing it?
Oh, that's
posted-
what you were
That's-
doing, where
shut
you're making a
up.
fool of
It
yourself.
was clearly obvious what I was trying to do.
I wasn't sure. I was like, is he doing a ring handstand
Oh,
push-up?
we've got
did he
rings
just-
in here.
I
Maybe
sent
we
it
should.
to my girlfriend. I was like, hey, check out what I did. She's like, so what are you trying to do? I was like, come on. It's
I
successful.
thought you were trying to do a ring handstand push-up.
So did I. I thought he failed and just came through.
Yeah.
Did you see the girl that was doing a backflip into a headstand?
Yeah. She'd like land it and then come back through.
And came
Yeah.
back and like did it again and then again and then again. I was
That's
like,
pretty wild.
I love when we see all this stuff and we're all amazed by it, what gymnasts can do, and then you'll watch like bartenders or like the guys, the
they're doing, like,
the break
one-handed
dancers
muscle-ups.
who are doing things like they'll do a one-handed handstand
Yeah.
but spin around 15 times, and
Right.
hop up and down on their arm, and you're like,
Yep.
oh, they got us again.
But
You
what
know
do
what,
they
though?
snatch?
yeah.
You know
Right.
what? You know what though is that like, and I'm sure Bob can relate working with Maddie. And I've spent a lot of time training with Dusty and gone to gymnastics schools to practice stuff. And no matter what, any like small 11-year-old girl would totally smoke me in the most basic gymnastic stuff.
For
Just
sure.
absolutely murder me.
There'd be no contest.
Careful how you say that again. Any 11-year-old girl would,
Would
smoke
smoke
me.
you.
Yeah, just
Oh.
don't use a different set of words.
Bump.
I didn't even catch that. Thanks,
Always
Eddie.
a stand-up comedian over there.
So when was your introduction to CrossFit? When did you start? What was that? Was it 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
No, I think it's been almost 3 years ago.
Almost 3 years.
Was it the games? I mean, did somebody say, "Hey, Bob, CrossFit"?
Yeah, it was like talked about in the gym, and as I'm just doing my coaching, and I thought, oh, well, let me see what this is about. Let me see what CrossFit is, and I mean, it was great. And I mean, I really was met with resistance in the very beginning. Like, you know, like the community was very much like, wait a minute. What is this dude doing with, you know, with our...
Yeah,
with our,
what are you going to do with our CrossFit?
Yeah, what are you going to do with our CrossFit? And they got they got real scared.
I never
first.
thought of that because CrossFitters are so active on message boards and stuff. You must have gotten brutalized.
I got ripped.
Are you one of those people
shreds.
that I read mine?
No, I don't read
I'm not
it.
supposed to.
No, that's Nicole's job. She reads it all. I don't read any
My
of
wife
it.
just said to me yesterday, I go, I'm having a bad day. She goes, what? I go, I just read some YouTube comments. And she goes, why would you go down that
Don't
wormhole?
ever.
And I wondered, you know, because you're high profile and then coming into one of the most active communities.
We're all just a bunch of nerds. that
Yeah,
work
it's a
out.
bunch of nerds on
I
fitness.
remember the very first time I introduced CrossFit onto the show, I had them do Fran. And because I thought it'd be...
See, that's evil.
And of course, you know, it was very,
Super
very...
scaled,
it
right?
was scaled. Like, the thruster was basically a push press. I mean, you know, the pull-ups
Yeah,
were
that's true.
were jumping like this. But it was like, it gave them this sense of confidence, right?
Yeah.
They were like, oh, wow, this is really, really cool. And in the beginning... the boards were out there, just those bloggers and people just saying, this is not Fran, and like I had a big conversation about this with Dave Castro
I know
and
rep
Greg
your whole
Glassman.
show.
Yeah, and they were so supportive of it because, you know, it's like,
yeah, it's you're giving them exposure.
we're giving, and also showing people that you can scale everything down. It's not just for the rich Fronings out there. It can be for the
Right.
people that are on my show that, you know, they can still get all this kind of like this benefit, not only physically but emotionally.
And
You just gave me a great idea for our video that we're going to do. And the reason we're going to do it, we're going to put it out there to cause people to lose their minds. CrossFitters love to no rep people. Mm-hmm. I say we have like me do Fran, and I literally do pull-ups where I pull myself up an inch, and my
then
thrusters
do it as
inch,
like a world record,
and
like-
say 1 minute Fran.
I don't even know
I
if you could
think-
do it in a minute with
yeah.
fake.
I'll bet you could.
Standards.
I think we should have Machete do it.
You could do it. You could do close to a minute. I'll bet about a minute and 20.
Maybe.
And we posted the minute 20 Fran.
That'd be
and
sick.
just watch them go crazy.
Agreed. How were the how receptive were kind of the producers of the show to having you bring in CrossFit?
Well, I think in the beginning they were supportive, and then when they realized that like I became
Drank the Kool-Aid.
I drank the
Yeah,
Kool-Aid.
You became a fanatic. Yeah.
They were just like, oh, wait a minute. And what I thought was really interesting is that it really the program that I do with the athletes on that show, it's like I've given them so much more to work with when they leave the show, where a lot of the it seems like a lot of the other athletes that aren't doing CrossFit on the show, they spend so much time on just like cardio equipment. And it just gets to the point where you're just like that hamster on a wheel, and you're just like, you're having to go so many hours of just doing this one thing. Like, you can't sustain anything like that. Sure. But like what I've found in the several years now, several seasons that I've been doing CrossFit, is I'm having more of a success rate with the people that leave the show because they're more inspired to try new things, and be challenged more, as opposed to just like doing a treadmill for 45
Do you think a big
fucking
part
minutes.
of that?
Yeah.
A big part of that is because of the hashtag community, but the ability for them to enter another system, so they still have the coaching and support system that they have on the show.
Absolutely, and that's why what turned the tides with me and the CrossFit community was that they saw that I was really into this sport. They saw that I was
You embraced it.
I embraced it. I loved it. I came in very humble and just like wanting to learn, just like everyone else. And I started bringing exposure for a whole different audience to come to their boxes, and that was like a real mission of mine. I wanted people, like I was really thinking about those boxes across the country that could bring in more revenue, more people, and help more people.
How hard?
Do you sorry, Scott, for interrupting, but I don't want to lose this thought. Do you see you were saying the success rate is better now that you're using CrossFit with them continuing on? Do you have any idea? I've always wondered about these people, you know, like how successful they are after they leave The Biggest Loser and continuing.
What I've seen,
Or is it like Extreme Home Makeover where it turns into a crack house like a week later?
That's funny. I like that one. What I have seen throughout the years of the show is that the success rate is good. It's not great,
Right. It would be hard.
and I think that you go so extreme that that pendulum is going to swing so far on the other direction. So now, since I've incorporated CrossFit, it seems like what I'm getting is people that are. If I had to put a percentage, and this is just something off the top of my head, success rate normally is around, on average, people with weight loss, 5% success rate. Our success rate's been about 30%.
That's pretty good.
And I think 30% is good, especially now that I've been incorporating CrossFit.
And with the CrossFit, you're probably educating them, which people, when they have trainers before, it's just like, do what I say and just do it.
Yeah.
Whereas CrossFit, it's like, do what I say, but learn how I.
And this
tell
is
you
why
to
I
do it.
want you to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, here's what I've never, like, I really can't grasp in my head. I can't understand something being hard for hard's sake. Like, it has to have a purpose. It has to, like, talking about Fran again, it's the most perfect couplet, right? It's like you put these two movements together. It's like, it's so challenging, but you know what the benefits are. It's like, whenever I see a trainer that's just like throwing things against the wall and just like, you know, there's no map.
Like a random model, just like, hey, let's just do this.
Let's do
today.
this now, and let's do that now. It's like, and that's what I love about CrossFit. It's like everything has a purpose.
So my question was going to be that, first of all, I'm sure that once you started doing CrossFit, the immediate like Kool-Aidness spread like super quick.
Yeah.
And then that probably, I mean, I know it has for me and probably everyone that listens to the show, it kind of changed their mentality towards fitness permanently. In the show or in extra training with other clients and stuff, has it been hard for moments to like move away from CrossFit and go back to the old style of stuff? I mean, have there been pressure from producers to do some of the stuff they used to do outside of CrossFit?
That's a really good question, and I'm not intimidated easily. That's how I would answer that question. So it's like whenever I've been approached to try something different, like it's my job on that show is to put their nutrition together and to put their programming together for their workouts. Nobody can tell me what to do when it comes to that.
So you don't have a whole staff of trainers working on it. It's just you, or just
I have two people, two other assistants out there when I can't be out there off camera.
Okay.
So because think about it, to get the results that they get, you can't just like leave them to their own devices.
yeah, and you don't have the time to take care
And
of.
in the beginning, it was just very much like I had no life whatsoever. I was out there
45 hours a week. You're with all these people.
45 hours a week.
Much more. A lot
I
more than
wish 45 hours a week would be fantastic.
Be vacation.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was brutal. It was long hour. It's long and it's brutal, but now it's like, you know, you get it down to a science. You get good people working with you that can kind of pass on what's in my head to them.
Are they working out less because they're doing short, intense workouts now than before when they were doing endurance, like throw them on a treadmill and say, hey, see you in 3 hours?
Yeah, they are working out less, but one problem that I've had with bringing CrossFit into my world was it was putting on muscle. Mm-hmm. And you have to remember at the end of the day,
you're a
on my
weight
show,
loss scale.
I'm a weight loss guy, and so it's like all of a sudden I started seeing my numbers reduce.
Right.
At one point, I was kind of like, "Whoa, what's happening here?" And so I've really had to be careful of how much weight training I do with them. I've got to keep it more metabolic conditioning, but like I know that the day after a weigh-in, for instance, I know that's a day that I can really like pound out weight with you, and then I've got to like scale it accordingly the closer I get to the weight.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that brings me to a pretty interesting question with how the world perceives weight. And everybody looks at it though, if you're losing weight, you're getting healthier, whereas we all know it's body mass, and if you're losing body fat. So have you ever thought about kind of, I mean, it would switch the whole concept of the show. Yeah, they're never going to let you get away with that because Americans are like, McDonald's. And
I have fought that because I tell people outside of my show, it's about how your body is actually changing way more than the number on the scale changing. So it's like you tell someone worry about, like, you tell a girl, worry about how your jeans are fitting. Your jeans are fitting looser and your body's getting stronger. Then you don't, and that number's not changing on the scale.
I totally get it from their standpoint. It's America, and it's all about
got to see that number. Got to see that number.
Because ultimately, if we're talking about health, you get blood work done and see all that stuff, and then ultimately, who in turn is more healthy. So. But yeah, for the purpose of the show,
I found out it was a horrible thing. I went to UCLA, had me come in and do the BCA, the body scan, where I basically sat on it felt like a copier, and a wand went down me and scanned my whole body, and then it did a body fat percentage, and I thought I was so much lower than I was, and it was so disheartening when they told me. I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, you feel bad, don't you?
What was it? 1/5 fat?
Yeah, it was close to it. It was like I was like 19%. And I said, what do you mean I'm 19% body fat? And they go, listen, everyone that comes in here thinks they're about 10% less than they really are. And they're like, the calipers and the water and all this stuff and the water displacement, none of that shit really works. This thing does almost like an MRI of your whole body. And I was thinking with technology and everything getting so advanced that Americans, and it's the easiest thing in the world, you just lie down on this thing, and 1 minute later, they're like, here's your entire, scan of your body.
That'd be interesting, though. You get them on the show. And
we do that.
Oh, okay, great.
Oh, you do the body scan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We get our doctor coming in the very beginning. They're just like this. You're gonna die. It's like he comes in and is like, you're a 30-year-old man with the body of a 70-year-old. You're gonna die tomorrow.
The body of a fat 7-year-old.
They're just crying.
What's the worst you've seen? What's the worst case that's come in?
Man, I mean, to me, the worst case is like a 30-year-old guy that's come in that's like close to 500 pounds and. He's a type 2 diabetic. His triglycerides, his blood pressure, everything is just like shooting off the charts. But what I think is really, really cool, and this is the part of the show that I really do like, and what you were just talking about or touching on just a minute ago, once that fat starts getting off their bodies start responding really, really quickly. You see their numbers drop so fast. It's like it's all of our bodies, generally speaking, want to be healthy. So it's like you start giving the body what it needs a little bit, and that body's going to start giving you what you want.
Yeah, totally snowball. So what we have to do with Machete? My goal for getting Bob on the show ultimately is to get Machete onto the Biggest Loser.
We want Machete on the Biggest Loser.
My biggest Machete. So Machete, what we have to have you do is actually put weight on.
Yeah, you're gonna have to gain a little more.
Gain some more weight.
Yeah, so he's not big enough for the show.
It's not the whole life.
He's been doing
challenge.
the whole life challenge. So.
You need to do the whole pound challenge and start pounding it, and then we'll get you on the Biggest Loser.
It was funny. I watched this lecture with Dr. Barry Sears once, where he talked about they took like the fattest man in the world, and
who's a genius, by the way. Dr. Barry Sears is a genius,
and they gave him to him because they were like, this guy's gonna die in like a week. He's so fat. And Dr. Sears said the first thing he did, he gave him like a high level dosage of fish oil. And he's like, that's what we have to do. And then we'll start weaning him off his diet because you can't just shut those people off.
Yeah.
They have to kind of taper them. So he said they found I don't know how much time later, it might have been a couple months later, where they did his blood work. And he had lost like 40 pounds or something, but he still weighed, or 100 pounds, but he still weighed like 750 pounds or something. But all his blood work was amazing. Like he was a healthy fat man. And Dr.
Because he's well rested.
He's well rested. Yeah, he's well recovered.
He's well recovered. His stress hormones are low. All the CrossFitters, our kidneys are freaking out from all the training.
If you get a chance, watch the video of the woman that killed her nephew. That she rolled over on him. She was that fat.
Oh, that's terrible.
Have you seen it?
No.
Oh, it's the great. Go on YouTube and just watch.
Oh, you're so evil.
You just this one. They had
like I said, comedians are dark, man.
They're dark.
They had
the dark soul.
Our listeners know how dark Eddie is.
They had to cut a hole in her house to get her out with the forklift to take her to court because she killed her nephew that she was babysitting because she rolled over on him.
On that positive note, let's take a second to listen to what Killcliff has got to say and see what's up there.
Hey, it's Lindsay Valenzuela. You're listening to the Wodcast Podcast.
Ever had that not-so-awesome feeling? Drink Kill Cliff, the recovery drink. Developed by a former Navy SEAL and made with real bits of awesome, so you know it's good. Kill Cliff, the tasty recovery drink. Not an energy drink. Contains only 15 calories, is sugar-free, and loaded with natural ingredients. Drink Kill Cliff recovery drink and test positive for awesome. Buy at GNC stores or at killcliff.com. Warning, Kill Cliff may cause chronic awesomeness. Symptoms include amazing feats of strength, spontaneous applause upon entering a room, and the ability to summon unicorns and divide by zero. If you experience periods of awesomeness lasting longer than 4 hours, congratulations.
Your dog is so legit, dude.
Right.
Your dog is so legit.
Yeah.
So I think
my dogs could
pretty
learn
soon
from
here,
that.
there's like 80 questions that have come in.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Right now?
There's been. I mean, it's going to go off. We're not going to get through them all, but it's going to bring up a lot of good discussion points.
I want to know. Well, I have one question. Are we back in?
Yeah, we're back in. Let's go.
You went to college, I saw, in Tennessee.
I never went to college. I went to college like literally for a minute. Like,
okay. Because I was
Yeah.
like, Tennessee. You were down in the Rich Froning area.
I grew up on a cattle farm. Yeah, I couldn't afford to go to college.
Where did you grow up?
It was an hour outside of Nashville, north of Nashville, a little town called Clarksville, Tennessee.
Clarksville.
So before we get into our lightning round and all the listener questions, how did you get into the field you're in, and how did that turn into Biggest Loser?
I was living in. I moved off the farm when I graduated from high school. Went to Nashville, really looking for what I was going to do with my life, and I was living next door to a gym, and I ended up getting a job in that gym as like working the front desk, and it was just like, and all of a sudden that turned into like getting a certification, started working with people, and then I decided if I was really going to do this for a living, I needed to move to California. Like, that's where the fitness capital of the world is.
Muscle Beach.
Then I drove west, young man. You know, I took it west and came to LA, hit the ground running, started working with a lot of celebrities, which opens up a lot of doors in this town. Started training everybody around here, and then it turned into, years later, a show called The Biggest Loser was being talked about, and they were looking for 2 trainers. And
was that a foreign format first, or was it America the first place we did it? Because I know they do have.
Yeah, America was the first place we did it, but like it was also at a time where there was a couple of shows where they did these things to women, where
like Extreme Makeover.
Those,
yeah.
Okay.
where they just literally just chopped these women in half.
Oh, yeah, that was
and put them in
terrible.
front of a mirror and was just like this. Aren't you beautiful? You've lost. You've done all this, and I was just like,
How your
that is
diuretics.
fucked up.
Yeah, yeah.
And then then I get a call that they're doing a show called The Biggest Loser, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? And they said it is about diet and exercise, and so I went in for the audition, and the rest is history.
There you go.
But
Are you making any other shows now? Is there anything, like, you're producing anything from what you've done from this?
no, just Loser keeps me busy. Like I just got finished shooting season 15, so it's
Wow.
they keep.
Wow.
they keep-
And you're
they
the
keep
only
me-
one on this show that's been there every season
That's
from the
right.
beginning, correct?
Yeah.
Wow. 15.
What CrossFit athletes have been on? I know you've had some guest appearances and stuff, but who have they been?
Well, I've had Rich on there, Jason, who just texted me, by the way, Jason Khalipa. I've had Becca Voigt, Kristen Clever, Camille LeBlanc.
Andrea Egger has not found her way on there?
Andrea's on this season. She was on because this season I had an Olympic girl, Holly Mangold.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I wanted to do is bring in a bunch of girls that were really powerful lifters and show Holly that she didn't need to weigh 400 pounds to be lifting the weight that she could be lifting. So it was cool. I brought Maddie Curley in, and because
She did the entire thing on her hands. It was pretty crazy.
I really wanted to bring in girls that were able to snatch more than their body weight, because I knew that Holly would.
I'll wear a wig.
She would respond to that.
I'll wear a
And
wig.
So
You can snatch more than your body weight.
Get Lindsay Valenzuela on there.
I wanted Lindsay. Lindsay was going to come in
Yeah.
this season with Holly, but it was right when the games started, and so she was like, "I really want to do this," and that's why Becca, I couldn't get her in the second time because I wanted her snatching, but it was like so close to the game. They were just like,
And what about bringing Glassman in?
I'd love to bring. Dave's been on the show with me, so yeah, it's like we were talking about CrossFit and what it means to me and how it's changed my view of fitness. It's like Greg Glassman has changed the whole landscape of this field. I think he has created something that is just he's so smart and he's so creative.
The biggest name since Jack LaLanne.
Yeah.
He really is.
Who I think is the original CrossFitter.
He pretty much was.
Have you guys spent time and looked back at some of his videos?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, those juicing infomercials, I love them.
No, he talks about fitness. He talks about he even talks about paleo,
working out anywhere, anytime.
He talks, everything he's saying is like all the major tenets of CrossFit.
He's like he's the original gangster. He's OG.
They should start grabbing some of those things he did for his birthdays and put them into the games, like tow 52 trucks or tow 52 boats across, the golden.
Dude, he is a man.
He was a man, and his nephew owns a CrossFit in San Francisco. There's LaLanne Fitness is a CrossFit, and I was watching that bartender's video the other. It's so hard for me to say bartenders.
You said it earlier. And I was like, that's awkward.
It's so awkward to say. You watch the video on these guys. It's a bunch of guys from Harlem that are just really good on the bars, and they do stuff you've never seen before.
That's like saying 50 Cent.
Yeah, but that's what they call
50
themselves,
Cent.
bartenders.
Or
bartenders.
Lil Kim instead of Little
But
Kim.
the guy
Bartenders.
the guy that invented it said Jack LaLanne called him and said, you're the first guy to go sideways on a bar. What made you think of that? And he's like, why are you using your legs on the bar? And Jack LaLanne was so interested in what was going on with this because he was always incorporating different things into fitness. He was he's the original Glassman.
Yeah. All right. I think it's a good time since we have a humongous thing to get started here with the lightning round. This week brought to you by High Temp Weights. Designed and manufactured in the USA, the weights and fitness products are designed with one goal, Eddie, to provide with the toughest weight equipment and accessories on the market today.
Very good.
The weights are made from recycled rubber, have a stainless steel bushing for long life and durability. The Olympic-style weight plates are made from recycled rubber with 2 inches of stainless steel sleeve in the center. High Temp is found in a lot of CrossFit gyms, and it's used at the games. They're awesome. They don't ship. And the best thing is that they have a year-long guarantee. So if they break, if Eddie or Armen, if you guys are working your snatching, drop the bar and you have those 10-pound bumpers on, they'll guarantee that they won't break.
I have the wooden plates on.
That's next. Anyway, so
ones.
check out High Temp. They're supporting us. Let's support them. HighTempWeights.com. And with that, we have a very deep lightning round because
So deep.
Of a lot of people drink the Kool-Aid of Bob Harper. That's awkward, but a lot of people wrote in and have a lot of questions here. So not only on our page, but also thank you for sharing the picture as well. So let's get started. Armen, I'm going to need some backup here with some of these questions.
Yep.
Armen Hammer.
That's me.
Chuck Charbonneau, how hard has it been not to talk about CrossFit on the show?
All I do is talk about CrossFit on the show.
Now, I was gonna say-
they just get to they don't let me say the words.
They just
cross.
edit it.
That's what was going to be my question. You're not allowed to say the C word. Is that correct?
I'm not allowed to say the C word, which makes me say the C word all the time.
Why aren't you allowed to say it? Advertising reasons or?
We have one of our big endorsers. I don't know if I can say their name or not, but if you watch the show, it's Purple. They are not happy with the fact that
There's a Reebok connection.
or that there is something other than what they try to do as far as fitness is concerned.
I think I know who it is now.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't morally just go into a gym and just have somebody just get on an elliptical machine. Like
So what do you say? Functional?
It's soul
Do
crushing.
you say functional fitness on the show or strength
You
and
call
conditioning?
say the C word. Do you know you can actually, those elliptical machines, you can stand on one of those platforms and just kind of wiggle your feet and still move the whole thing.
Oh, really?
You don't even exercise. You just
Hate it.
stand. You just kind of like go like you can totally kip an elliptical machine.
Glad,
2 feet on one
glad
side.
to know you do that.
But the
on
one
your
thing
off
about
time.
it, the one other thing I would say about that is anybody that watches the show that does CrossFit knows exactly when they see the pig sitting there or the worm, which we were talking about earlier, and they're seeing Rogue splattered all across my workout facility where I built a box. I mean, I have a box that I work solely with my contestants.
And then Gerald Steketee, hopefully I get that wrong. What is your most memorable moment from the show?
My most memorable moment on the show, I think that it would have to go back to season 1. I had a guy on my show, Mo, who was the biggest person I'd ever worked with in my entire life, and there was a goal for everyone on the show to kind of run. It was run a mile, and this was so far beyond anything that he could have ever done in his entire life. And the day that he did that, it was such a big deal. I mean, there were just like
that's awesome.
Tears, and him just being able to do a mile.
How often do people cry on the show?
All the fucking time. Like, I mean, I am just like,
I mean,
grow a pair. It's like grow a pair. It's like it's just a push up. Let's not cry about the fucking push up.
I wonder who cries
you
more,
guys
the
get in
audience
their
watching
head.
or the people on the show.
Yeah, I think
That's because you get into their domes. You're like, they're sitting there struggling, like, remember 5th grade?
yeah.
You know, you get into them, and then it hits that emotion. So, I mean,
like,
that's what drives the show.
Your mother didn't love you enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this where all this eating is coming from?
I'm going to start crying right now.
You're good enough.
Yeah.
You really are. Your best is good enough.
You're good at this.
Let's see. Becky Miller wants to know, what's your favorite benchmark workout?
Grace. I love Grace. Grace is my jam.
Something about throwing weight around, right?
I
think
like
that's a
that.
classic.
What's your record in Grace? I'd love to know.
I just did Grace the other day in 332.
Do you do full squat cleans or do you power clean and jerks?
Power clean? No, I don't do. What, there,
it doesn't specify, okay?
It does not.
Don't be an elite. Don't be an elitist over there.
And when I did it, I called Dave Castro, and I was like, "This, Dave, what do I need to do here?" And he was like, "Game standard says you can just like
Game standards." That's good.
Castro rules. All right.
Yeah, go for it.
And I hate Fran. The fact that they did at the OC Throwdown.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
Yeah.
They
Triple
did
Fran.
triple Fran.
I wonder if that means you cough for 3 days instead of
Oh,
one
man.
afterwards.
Those guys are legit, man.
Yeah,
they're
Ryan
I couldn't do
Fisher's.
the mental of that would just like I don't.
Have you ever done more than one Fran back to back?
No.
You know,
Have you?
I did.
No.
I did Fran with a weight vest on or something, or a heavy Fran once, which was awful. It was just
heavy
awful.
Fran is
it was
135.
135.
135. I did
45
that,
pound.
and it slows it down. That it's actually easier.
What
Yeah,
about-
It's terrible,
because
but
heavy Fran is actually less reps.
Yeah, it's like 15, 12, 9.
Yeah.
Scott, have you ever done double Fran?
Yeah.
Back to back or with the rest?
No, with the rest.
What's the rest? 10 minute?
I think I
depends.
rested till I was ready.
I did. The worst I ever did was Fran rest 8 minutes
like
and
that
then
thing.
Fran, and that was
you
that
couldn't
second
pay me
Fran
all
was
the money in the
worst.
world to do that.
But
I won't
second
even do
Fran
Fran
was
anymore.
terrible.
But I found doing it like that in my head, I didn't go to that last gear on the first Fran.
Let me tell you.
You know?
Wait. Let me. I know we're in the lightning round, Scott, but I have to break it up for this. We've talked about this on the show before, and I've talked to so many people and searched the internet for this. Nobody can really explain the Fran cough. No, I've seen so many different theories. One guy, I was talking to a guy who's a doctor.
Smog.
I was talking to a doctor at a bar one time who had a CrossFit shirt on. We were talking about Fran, and he said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's your lungs are bleeding."
I just think that it's such a crazy anaerobic workout that it just like it does something.
Yeah, we know
Yeah,
that.
what
but we're
about-
wondering what it is.
What is that something? Right?
I'm a little worried
what-
about what that something is.
What about that? Like, I feel like I have like blood in my mouth. You know, you get that like metallic taste, and,
Yeah.
like you have blood in the back of your molars. Or
I just
whatever.
get to that point in my head where it's like on the 15s, I'm literally just going, just stop. Who gives a shit?
It doesn't need to be up there.
It
You don't
doesn't-
need to put the bar up there.
Just stop.
That's
Stop
when you-
doing this.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
See?
Okay.
Let's see. Gordon Wagner wants to know, how many CrossFit tattoos have you worked into your sleeves?
I don't have any CrossFit tattoos.
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God.
I don't have any CrossFit
Are
tattoos.
you planning on getting one?
No.
Armen
Okay.
does. Armen has Glassman's face on his back.
That's right. It's like the Steve-O.
Yeah.
I think that if I ever did it, like to me, a CrossFit tattoo would be something on your rib cage because
Yeah.
it seems like everyone's like all into that. So it's like if I ever got something on my rib
it
cage,
has to have a religious. You'd have to have a biblical. All
Yeah.
those guys have biblical.
What about
sayings.
your the skull logo? Ever think about that? Hmm?
oh yeah. Well, I've got plenty of skulls all
Sure.
over me. I've got lots of skulls. So my skull CrossFit. I don't have a technical.
Somebody wants to know where they can get those shirts. Jeffrey Chupp. Your
my website. You guys are all getting one when before you leave here.
Nice. I'm a Marge.
They're real like I really keep them. I keep them very like stealth. I don't want to like get them out there too much. I want.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of times it's for people that I work with, that I work out with. It's like it's kind of a thing, and like so.
So
It is a thing. Yeah.
we've
thing.
made it, guys.
We've made it. Yeah, we've worked with Bob Harper.
Just real quick, Jeff Cook wants to know: do you follow Zone or Paleo?
I'm more Zone than Paleo. It's like if there's a hybrid of the two together, that's what I like the most. I don't like. I understand the concept of this high fat diet, but for me, Zone is just, it keeps my performance going, and I feel the best with Zone.
I think what I learned from doing Zone, it helped me. It realized that I didn't eat enough quality fat.
Right.
And so I took that, even when I'm not actually zoning, but I just know to eat more fat.
So what are your carbs that you eat that would be outlawed in paleo? Are you a rice eater? Or?
No, not really.
Wow, that sounded bad. That sounded racist. What is it that where you get your carbs?
Well, I get it mostly from vegetables.
Yeah.
From vegetables and fruit, like
paleo
the crazy, those hardcore paleo guys that like aren't
Stay away
eating,
from the fruit. Yeah.
Stay away from the fruit. It's like, I don't know. It's anybody that tells me that I can't eat fruit.
Yeah.
Like I can't have strawberries or blueberries. Those are like, like
how could they not be healthy?
Superfoods.
They're superfoods.
Joshua Armstrong wants to know Tim Tebow or Rich Froning, best guest appearance on the show.
Oh, well, they didn't utilize Rich Froning on my show, so Tim Tebow got more airtime.
The country probably went crazy.
But the thing about it is, to me, if I'm choosing between the two, I'm going Rich Froning all day long.
Nice.
Yeah, I want to see Tim Tebow take over CrossFit, or to start CrossFitting and
just be a huge CrossFitter.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Right.
He'd be the biggest one. I mean, like he outweighs even Khalipa. He outweighs Khalipa by 30 pounds
right now, but he'd probably lose some weight.
Maybe.
I don't know. Hey, and some, I don't know what's going on here, but a lot of people keep asking about Julian Michaels' kettlebell swing, or Sean Cleary posted a YouTube video called Julian Michaels Kettlebell
Swing through.
Friend or foe? I don't know what that's referring to.
Jillian is a really, really good friend of mine. And it's like, I guess she really wanted to push the limits with that kettlebell swing, but man, she was like reaching all the way through and like, heads through her legs. And I was like, baby, we got to keep that head up.
Oh, so it was about her form. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Leave it to CrossFitters to judge that form.
Kevin Atchison wants to know, he points out that one of the most interesting things for him on Biggest Losers is that the contestants seem to have more mental barriers than physical ones. And he was wondering if it's frustrating to have to be a psychologist as well as being a personal trainer. I mean, I know from being a coach that's a big
part of
part
being
of it.
a coach.
That's part of being a coach. I mean, I think that people that don't bring in, that's like a trainer not bringing in the nutrition aspect to your coaching. Yeah. It's like it's all encompassing, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, it can't be just, let's work out and everything else is going to be great, because that's just not the case.
But you're dealing with people that are like severely obese. They're like morbidly obese, and that
they're not like morbidly obese. They are morbidly obese.
So a lot of times that is a complete psychological problem. I mean, they do have the physical aspect, but that stemmed from a psychological.
Of course.
So
more times than not.
So you being a trainer and your specialty is nutrition and strength and conditioning and stuff like that. Do you guys utilize on the show? I'm not sure. I haven't watched to see this enough. Do you utilize like psychiatrists that come in and work with them?
We do have psychiatrists that come on off camera.
Right.
But also it's like it's my job to be informed. I mean, I've been in analysis for years. I have a lot of research. I've done a lot of research with working with a person's mind as well as their body.
And so
I think it's important.
And is that, I'm just curious, I don't know anything about this. It is an emotional eating thing that gets these people to the point where, because I always hear it's the thyroid gland, and I'm like, yeah, your thyroid's hungry.
But thyroid could be an issue. It could be physical like that, but it could be a lot of mental issues too. It could be any kind of trauma that's happened in their life, in their childhood.
And so they look
and how it manifests.
So they look to the eating to kind of,
that's their drug.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just bunching forward here. Pete Tracy put in like 11 questions. A lot of them we touched on, but
pick the last one.
Yeah, he said, which fat celebrity would you love to train?
Well, I'll tell you, because I just saw her recently. She's this girl on this show called American Horror Story. Her name is Gabourey Sidibe. Mm-hmm. She's this
Precious.
Precious.
Oh, okay. Precious.
She is bigger than I have ever. She is a big girl, and I think she's fantastic, and I'd like to get my hands on her.
So would I, in a different way.
Creepy.
Do you remember my part? Did you see me in Legit and the TV show?
Yeah. Your character was odd.
I had to gain on a TV show. I had to gain. I was a personal trainer in this TV show, and rather than me help my client, he gets me fat and drunk and into drugs and alcohol and food, and so I explode. And they put me in. I had to go 3.5 hours of makeup every day, and they added like 140 pounds to me. And but I fall in love with a woman that looks like Precious.
Let's see.
So there is a happy ending to it.
There you go.
I guess this has to do directly about the show, but Carl Smitterberg wanted to know, how hard was it to watch Holly leave this season?
Oh, I cried on that one because she was more than just an athlete on the show. She was a peer, and like I would come in off camera all the time and work with her. She taught me a lot, helped me with my technique. So she was a friend. It was like saying goodbye to a friend, which was tough.
You know who spoke very highly of her was Kendrick Ferris. Another when we had him on the show, and it'd be nice to have them both at the same time.
He's amazing, that Kendrick Ferris.
Arnold Pamplona, I don't understand. Do you really endorse the Wodcast, or did they misappropriate your likeness when they photoshopped your text onto your shirt in this picture? Go ahead.
It's funny. I'm a full supporter of Wodcast.
There you go, Arnold. Suck it.
Suck it.
And
Suck it, Arnold.
that shirt was awesome, and that Photoshop was done on my phone, and
That's why it's so professional.
And it's very professional.
Let's see. Ralph Petticini wants to know, if you could program a benchmark WOD called Jillian, what would it be?
Jesus.
Not to put you on the spot.
I think that WOD would involve artillery.
Yes.
We'd have to get to a certain place and then like shoot. There'd be target practice.
I don't know.
Sign me up.
There you go.
Yeah.
Scott would love that one. Mark Perez wants to know, what's your favorite lifter movement and what's your least favorite?
My favorite lifter movement, I guess it would be, my answer is going to be both. What I like the most and what I dislike the most. I love the snatch. Love it, and it's humbling. It's the most technical movement. There are times I come in here and it's like I just fucking hate it.
Yeah.
It's like I think that I've gotten it one day, and I come in the next time and it's like he'll have me working from the blocks, and it just turns into something else. It's just like, it's torture.
We talk about the snatch. We've talked about it a couple times, and one of the ways that we describe it was kind of like the same sort of feel that golf has to it. You get one good swing, and it hooks you for life.
Right.
You feel it work perfectly just once. And from then on, you're chasing that.
I compare it to a golf
feeling.
swing all the time. I truly believe. Kenny and I were talking about it yesterday, that it's the one thing I hate about CrossFit is the snatch. I'm not good at it, and I don't like it because of that, because I feel like the amount of time that you spend snatching, it's like working on a golf swing. And to me, that's more of technique than it is fitness.
I think I told Armen about my new hashtag last night, and that's hashtag snatching is trendy. We'll switch turn the tides on them, Eddie.
Oh God,
it is trendy.
Oh, well, I
just like
it.
to
You're
say the
going
word
from, you're going
snatch,
from
too.
the angle of you're going to try to bring down
it's
snatching.
a good word.
Yeah.
It's
too,
a good
right?
word.
It's a good word.
I like the word snatch.
Yeah.
There's just something about it. It's powerful.
By the way, I asked the Talking Shit fans if they would design a T-shirt for
the Wodcast.
yeah, and because they're very.
I saw
artistic.
the first guy wrote no.
And then another guy wrote snatches doing snatches.
That's funny.
Would that be a drawing?
Well, then another guy did a shirt and it just said boring.
Thanks,
I
guys.
think the audience is slightly different.
Yeah, the audience for
Audience is
Eddie's
slightly
other
different.
podcast is slightly different. So these are some questions. I think we went through
Yeah, those are all on Facebook, I think.
'Cause I know there's some on Bob's Instagram as well as ours. So Team Roadie on our Instagram. Question for Bob: as a longtime personal trainer and celebrity trainer, does he get a lot of haters critiquing and criticizing CrossFit like a lot of other CrossFitters do? I think we kind of answered that, but is there anything else you want to elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, I've gotten a lot of non-CrossFit trainers throwing hate my way, and I think it's just because I think people get nervous about new things. When they get challenged, which CrossFit does for you mentally and physically. I think that people, if they're scared of it, they're going to reject it.
It seems like when those haters don't really ever have a sound argument why not to, or why against it. You know, it's like people like against snatching in a competition. There's not really a solid argument why we should not have that happen. You know, it's just hate and this and that and focusing on the bad stuff. But
And the fact that like this is the one thing that drives me nuts is when it gets dismissed, like that what you guys are doing, it's easy.
Yeah,
It's just like, you know, we've done it all, and like there's another trainer on the show. One time I was doing snatches with Holly and all these girls, and it was like the day that I PR'd. I did a 185 snatch, and it was like the biggest deal of my fucking life.
Yeah.
I was so excited, and like he came around and said that basically, oh yeah, I can do that. And I was like,
fuck that guy.
and I literally was like, I looked right at him. I was like, you're a liar.
Yeah.
I was like, let's bet. And he was like, oh, I'll bet you, like thousand. I was like, great, let's do it. To this day, he's never, ever tried it.
There you go.
And one time I just told him, I was in a gym in Colorado, and he was there, and I was like this, listen, snatch right now 100. I was snatching, and I was like, snatch 135 pounds, and we will call it a day.
Yeah.
And he was like this, all right, great. And then he gets down, and I was like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And I just walked out. I was
awesome.
My favorite thing is when people are like, "Oh, CrossFit's a fad. It'll go away next year." Like CrossFit was so 2013, CrossFit was so 2012, and it's like you're not understanding.
no.
I think
You're
eventually
understanding.
there's going to be a CrossFit channel.
The CrossFit channel.
Just saying, watch.
I'm
Well,
Scott
I would
McGee talking to you from the CrossFit
I would like to be the
channel.
host of that. Can I be the host of the CrossFit channel?
That won't happen because the way television's going, there's like a reverse engineering. It'll
be the CrossFit channel on YouTube.
CrossFit was ahead of the times with putting the CrossFit Games would probably, in my opinion, be better off if it wasn't all downloaded and you live stream it, because ultimately that's where we're all going. TV's going away, and we're all going to be watching everything on the internet, and it's pay per or however you're doing it now, video on demand. So CrossFit already was lining up the advertising themselves, and going to ESPN. I know the time period we are. It was probably a smart thing to do to gain the exposure, and probably did bring a massive amount of people into CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, it'll go back to you'll just go to CrossFit.com and watch all things CrossFit.
Yeah.
Like why the need of a television where you can get it directly off the
That's
internet?
true. I think. But
Well, what I'm saying is,
Why have a middleman when you can just inject it right into your bloodstream?
in entertainment? Yeah.
I can just say advertisements and stuff like that for people to tune in.
But what I'm saying is, we're closer and closer to getting the TV and the computer the same.
yeah.
thing.
I know, like it's like that song from the '80s, "Video Killed the Radio Star." It's like, you know, computers are killing our television.
Yeah.
Netflix now is showing us that they don't need
Amazon.
Yeah, they can
all
make
that.
their own
They
programming.
can make their own programming.
Silent Mike wants to know what your best lifts are. Your squat, bench, deadlift, clean and jerk, and snatch. I know we went over some of those, but is there any like other number you want to throw out there that you know?
Got my clean and jerk right now. It's 225.
That's good.
I mean, it's good for me. Like,
Just have a goal of staying ahead of Matt.
What do you weigh, Bob?
I'm like 195.
Watch, like a year from now, that'll be like 275.
That's what I'm hoping.
No,
No, he means your weight.
Not to like really. I don't. This is kind of a weird question, but like the Open, I think sign up starts today.
Is
right?
today the 15th?
So this will air in a couple weeks because we're staying in order for the 100th episode, but the registration starts today. Just real quick, I mean, just so we get on air, how many people do you think will register for the Open this year?
Oh God!
It was 140,000 last year.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get 300K.
You think it's going to double? That's I think it's almost a double.
I think the real number and what actually does might be different.
Well, just we only
What
know
they're
the
going to
number they
say, I'm gonna go with 210.
I'm gonna say 325, just so that we have it on record.
I'll
All right.
say 326.
Nice.
Oh, nicely done.
just did Price
the
is
Price
Right.
is Right style.
CrossFit analog. Would you rather watch?
I'm gonna go 1.
Would you rather watch Armen perform in gymnastic movements such as a back roll to support, or get a root canal with no painkillers?
It is graceful. It just goes to show you can't teach grace. You're born with it,
I
or
can't
not.
believe you couldn't do that.
I did do it.
I think
Yeah.
Eddie's gonna try after we're done recording.
I'm trying as soon as I get to the gym.
And then Snazzy Gina wants to know.
Nicole, is that you?
That's a great one.
Ask Bob when he's doing Fran again, and if Fran is his favorite lady wad. I'm not sure who.
Apparently not.
Yeah. Are you know what? Are you gonna try maybe the triple Fran, but 10 minutes apart?
No.
No, you couldn't pay
No,
me
I'm
all
not.
the money in the world.
I will do
to
Fran one time, like a normal CrossFitter.
Like a normal human being.
Like a normal human being.
And then Breezy21159. Who's taking the podium at the games this year? Looking forward to this episode. Y'all are hilarious, and I love Bob.
God.
Let's just say pick the 2 winners. Let's skip the whole podium. Ready? And
the 2 winners of what?
the games.
Oh. Men's and
I
women's?
think it's too soon to tell. I mean, of course, like, is someone going to finally upset Rich?
It's all
Sam Briggs is up there.
Lindsay, I think, can win it this year.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And I also think Ben Smith might have a chance.
it all depends on the programming, like we always talk about.
It depends on the programming, except Rich Froning is competing. So
Yeah.
what depends on the program is who gets second.
Yeah. So let's go for second.
All right.
Scott Panchek.
Tim Tebow.
Khalipa.
Nice.
Again?
I think he's gonna podium again.
He's
He's a
peaked-
monster,
dude.
dude.
I think he peaked last
You're
year.
wrong.
No.
Yeah.
You're
Jason
wrong.
Jason is not peaked.
He is a monster.
He is a monster.
And
Ben
he's
David,
committed.
though.
Yeah, Ben Smith is
Ben
in
Smith.
there too.
Ben David's a friend
Ben
of mine.
Smith's a freak.
Yeah, Ben Smith.
Garrett
Ben
Fisher.
Smith's the only CrossFit competitor that looks like just a normal dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
He just like walks around and is like, I just did my engineering homework. Let's do
And Ben
some
Smith
workouts now.
Ben Smith's younger than them all. Am I correct?
Not by much. Yeah, he is younger. He's probably
Khalipa's what,
24.
25?
No, he's a little bit. He's a little bit older than that.
Yeah.
Ben
And
Smith's like 23, I think.
Yeah, he's a youngster.
He's young. Yeah.
He's a youngster.
So he's going to rebound a little bit better than
And
all
then-
of them.
Yep. And then G on GTC. Sorry. Well, yeah, this is Instagram funny
Terrible,
names.
dude.
What tips does Bob have for a newbie to CrossFit? Also, just saw his post on Bulletproof Coffee. Does it work? Hashtag and Bobby Trust.
Bobby Trust. Well, I think that the number one thing when starting out with CrossFit is make sure that you go to an affiliate and you make sure that the coaches. I think that it's really like somebody starting out. You've got to have a really good, patient coach that's not going to throw you into the deep end, because throwing you in the deep end could just turn people off. You got to like start them off slow and give them that the technical support that they need, and then encourage them. As far as Bulletproof Coffee, I love it. I love it. I
Hear
drink
that,
it.
Tate?
I'm all for it. Like, I make it at home now. I have my tablespoon of unsalted grass-fed butter. I use my high premium MCT oil.
It's the best. I do it every morning as well.
You do the Bulletproof?
Yeah,
You're doing, I haven't done.
absolutely.
But do you do it before you do it in the morning before you work out, or you just do it?
No, when I wake up in the morning, I have coffee, and I immediately start with at least a tablespoon of butter and the MCT oil. And we use a Caveman Coffee Company. Tate Flesher came up. They started a whole bulletproof coffee company.
The caveman.
Caveman
I was
Coffee
just
Company.
around. They just sent me some.
You saw-
The guys.
They were
the
at
guys
the
with
OC
gold
Throwdown.
teeth. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I have it every morning.
Let me ask you this: so when you make the coffee, you put the butter in the coffee.
So that's what I do. I make my coffee.
Instead
That's
of
how
milk.
it works.
And I put the butter. I
Okay,
put
I'm
butter.
sorry,
No,
Armen.
check it out. I honestly, I had to learn as well. So I take the Kerrygold unsalted Irish butter.
Right.
I take at least a tablespoon put in the blender, and I put the MCT oil, at least a tablespoon, into the blender. I make my coffee. I pour it in the blender and I blend it up for a bit, and I pour it in my coffee mug.
If you want to go,
best
if you want to go wild with it, if you want to go real crazy, you put in a little bit of SFH in there too.
I thought you were gonna say cookie
the
butter.
fish oil or the recovery?
the protein. So I used to go whole milk, butter, coffee, protein,
kefir.
and
So can you do this with
So
any
good.
coffee, or does it have to be
the better the
Caveman?
quality coffee is,
Right.
the better it
Yeah.
is. So you want to find something that's that's going to be
Because I drink
relatively high
decaf.
quality coffee.
When I'm in a hurry, I'll use the Keurig and stuff. Otherwise, I'll make it with like a French press and use the Caveman Coffee Company. But it's delicious. It's the best way to get a good quality fats going. And for me in the morning, because like I said, I was not good at eating quality fat. Mandy 893.
Isn't it crazy? Just CrossFitters putting butter in their coffee.
Yeah.
We've
It's
changed
hilarious.
the world. We've changed the world.
Hilarious.
What's the best advice you've ever got?
The best advice I've ever gotten. God, I mean, I think that the two words come to mind: humility and patience. It's like, I think that anything worth having is going to take a while, right? So it's like you
Yeah.
got to be patient and you got to trust the process of it all. So it's like, I guess would be my answer.
It's kind of like the same advice to give a CrossFitter: humility, patience, realize you suck, and
Yeah.
And try and get better.
And try to get better.
Yeah. Honestly, try and get better. Lastly, my girlfriend sent me a picture of her dog and said he's a great hiking companion and wants to know if you want to go hiking with her.
There you go. That's
All right.
That's a good looking dog.
He's a gem.
Man's best friend.
That's right.
I love my dog. Is he just like laying there?
Yeah,
with us all
right.
day?
Your dog is just kicking
Big
it. It's so
doggy.
good. Anyway, thank you so much, Bob, for taking the time to be with us today. If people want to get a hold of you, website, some sort of Twitter, Instagram, what are all those places where people can get you?
Gosh, well, you got my Instagram, which is
It's
Trainer
at
Bob.
Trainer Bob. Yeah.
Then Twitter is My Trainer Bob. I've got my Facebook, which is My Trainer Bob, and then I've got mytrainerbob.com.
There you go.
And don't on the Twitter, don't tag Trainer Bob, because that goes to some guy in the middle of nowhere. It's not, it has to be My Trainer Bob, because I looked up
Oh
something.
yeah, because some dude has Trainer Bob and he won't
Yeah.
give it to me unless I pay him like $1 zillion.
Yeah, of
I'm like
course.
this.
Okay, I looked
I'm
up and
good.
see a lot of people tagging some dude that's in a farm. Like, it's funny.
And for the show,
We're at Wodcast Podcast on everything.
yep, and facebook.com/Wodcast Podcast. Eddie Ifft is at Eddie Ifft.
Yeah, and I'm
EddieIfft.com.
I'm at Morty's in Indianapolis in 2 weeks from now. And
Well,
then,
this will air February 5th. So
February 5th, I'm in San Diego at the Madhouse Comedy Club all weekend. Come and see me. I've 4 shows. They will sell out, so get your tickets now. That's the 6th and 7th at Madhouse in
And
San
then
Diego.
when this airs,
Oh, and also Australia.
Yeah, there
My
you go.
Australian tour. Adelaide, tickets are on sale now for the Adelaide Fringe Festival. I'm coming to Sydney. I'm doing the Sydney Comedy Festival. And I will also be in Perth. I'm not doing Melbourne as of right now. I'm sorry. And I'm not doing Brisbane. Hopefully we can set something up, but I'll be in Perth, Adelaide, and
You're such a dick.
yeah, and then my Instagram, Twitter is at @1Scott McGee. Armen is still for now at Hey Naked. We'll figure it out. Deal with it.
Nobody gave us any good suggestions.
I know. To be continued.
I'll ask on Talking Shit
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I would also like to say thank you to all the listeners that have been with us
for 100 episodes.
for the 100
Thanks, guys.
episodes. All the new ones that are downloading old episodes. Thank you, and hopefully we have big things to come. And looking forward to episode 200.
Take care of yourselves, folks.
All right, thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Is that your sign off? Take care of yourself, folks.
Stay classy.
Hold the bottom of a squat.
There, that's
There
it.
you go.
Stay gold.
Stay gold, Tony boy.